after we leave.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get tested on this?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
You a tutor as well?
So, if we are getting marked on this, if anybody puts a coffee on a piano, you fail immediately?
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, you see, I was going to, no. I'll let you gang tackle me if I did that.
I always get the piano benches with the circles on them and the tops of the pianos that, oh, I used to water my plant on here.
So any real practical, I'm gonna disregard that. You know, that's just, you know, not helpful at all.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
How long have you guys known each other? Because I've heard him talk about you since I've known Gerard.
Well, you believe about, you know, a third of it. Believe about a third of it. and
Okay,
you'll be,
that makes
you know.
sense.
Any practical questions like about, you know, what we've talked about so far, or if there's a burning question, I don't wanna disregard it. Although, like I said, we don't wanna really get into a lot of,
Would you just mind if I record this just for my
yeah, go
listening
ahead.
back?
Yeah.
Would that be
Yeah.
okay? Thanks.
But if you sell it on the
I won't.
internet, I won't listen.
Can you
No
just,
one will believe that was my voice.
can you just repeat what you said about the difference between the equal temperament and the other one? You said something about,
Well, there was several, and I don't know exactly all the ins and outs
Yeah.
about historical tunings and all that. But equal temperament is you take the octave, you split it up into 12 equal pieces without any regard to giving any precedence to any particular key. Some of the historical tunings, they said, look, the common keys that we're playing in most of the time are C, F, and G, so we're going to tune the piano so those sound better than they would in equal temperament. And then the other keys will sound worse,
gotcha.
right? So now we don't care about any of that stuff, and we're just going to make all the keys sound equally awful. So, it's Leslie, right?
Michelle.
Michelle,
Yes.
see, there you go.
That's okay, no worries.
What we've got, I just handed out a piece of paper, and I'm going to try to explain it so that, you know, it can bring some pictures to your mind.
Sure.
The top, this is basically a picture of the way that a string vibrates, okay? So the top one is when you take a string and you divide it, or you don't divide it, you just picture it as if it were vibrating in one big arc, like this, okay? That's the fundamental sound. When you play a note, let's start with A. When you play a note, people will, the unwashed masses, you know, who don't have the wisdom that we do here, they will say, I'm hearing a single note. And they would be wrong about that. Because when you play a note, you're hearing the fundamental sound, which is the bottom, the lowest sound, and that comes from the string dividing, or not dividing itself, but just vibrating in one large arc. That's not how a string vibrates. It also divides itself in half. So now you've got this going on. Clear?
Yeah. Sort of.
And the sound that you're getting from the string dividing itself in half is that pitch there. Let's start lower. Let's start on a C. So the first row up there is the fundamental sound, the lowest possible sound that you can hear, and it's the sound that people will identify. They'll say, you're playing a C. And while that's true, I am playing a C, but in that C, that string is dividing itself in half, and you're getting this sound. So if I hold that open and play that, you're really hearing that string divide itself in half, and you're hearing the two halves. Okay? But the string also divides itself in three pieces. All at the same time. It's a miracle, okay? And you're getting this sound. I'm holding that C open, and I'm playing a G, And you're also hearing that that's coming from this string dividing itself in 3 pieces. It also divides itself in 4 pieces, and you're getting a double octave. It's all coming from one string. It divides itself in 5 pieces, and you're getting a double octave plus a third. It divides itself in 6 pieces, and you're getting a double octave plus a fifth. Can you hear that? Divides itself in 7 pieces, and you're getting a double octave plus a seventh. Divides itself in 8 pieces, and you're getting a triple octave. Okay? That's all coming from one string. Now you take all those overtones of all the keys and you match them all up. And then you have an in-tune piano. Gosh, we got through that in 20 minutes.
Let's
Um,
have tea.
What's that?
Let's have tea.
Yeah, let's have tea. Does that make any sense? Yeah?
Were you doing that on one string?
That, what I'm doing,
Michelle.
Michelle,
It's more an egg.
it's terrible, isn't it? What I'm doing is I'm holding a C open
Oh, okay.
so that the damper is off the string,
Okay.
and then I'm playing those notes above it that fit into the harmonic structure of that C. Okay, and so now it's just stimulating that one frequency that those 2 notes have in common.
But that was just as a demonstration, because normally it's happening anyway. We're just not able to
That's, I'm just isolating
saying?
those sounds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So, where should we start? We should start with A, okay? Because we're tuning now to A440. So,
If there's
I'll
any
pull up.
time that you want us to go to the pianos, just
yeah,
you let us know, but
Okay.
otherwise we'll,
yeah.
yeah.
Now would be a good time, I think.
Okay, everybody pick a piano. Which one do you want to stick? Do you want to stick on that one, or it's up to
It
you?
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's,
Yeah, wherever you want to be.
You want that one?
Sure, whatever you like.
There's
Doesn't matter to me.
2 uprights here.
Hey!
Hi.
I brought treats.
Oh!
So,
Hi, Jack.
I know Josh.
This is as fun as I've ever seen this place. I mean, I know, I mean, it's a workshop, I get that, right?
Sorry, George.
It's okay.
Gerard, where would you like these?
Oh, I'll grab it. Jacqueline, this is Michelle.
Hi,
Her
Jacqueline.
father John.
Hi,
Sorry,
Michelle.
I'm stuck in
That's
the
all good. Hi,
Father John.
Father John.
It's his birthday today, so we knew it was your birthday, so we brought Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, and I also got gluten-free vegan food. Treats.
Treats? Oh,
Yes.
you sweet. Thank you.
And,
Rob,
Oh,
I met you before.
where's the bacon muffins? Just kidding.
The bacon muffins. Oh, okay. So where would you like these? Gerard?
Let's just put them up on here.
Up here.
Actually, it's fine
Probably-
putting them here.
Okay, so there's regular Tim Horton muffins, the regular Tim Horton donuts, and then
what's
in
his
this
name?
little box
Elliot.
is
Elliot, now how do you guys
bacon,
know each other?
and there's a
We
couple
move
of
pianos
donuts.
together. Oh, you're okay. You're one of his lackeys.
What do you call those?
I tell him what
that's
to
so
do.
sweet. I have a
I'm the one who's
dairy
lacking.
allergy. Everyone manages to give me something I can eat.
You must come in this, yeah.
You also have dairy?
No, I can't have dairy, no.
Uh-oh.
Vegan means no dairy.
Okay, so then I did it right.
You're gonna find out.
Oh, no, I specifically asked for both. I specifically said I need both gluten-free and vegan.
Oh,
And then there's, what do you call it?
You did it. Good job.
thank you.
Not, okay, what was this called?
Scones?
Scones?
There's a scone.
Oh,
Does everybody need shop in Abbotsford?
It's called the Polly Fox. It's a gluten-free
oh yeah,
bakery, the
my
Polly
daughter
Fox.
goes to that place.
Yeah, and then they have vegan as well. And then I found at another place some other stuff for lunch.
Oh, you are. Thank you.
So there we go.
Come to Abbotsford more often.
And see you guys later.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Did Gerard let you know washrooms and everything.
No.
You said you
Yeah.
use the bush, Gerard.
If anybody needs to, I'll direct
Okay.
them, yeah.
Have fun.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
If we have the English mute instead of those, is that gonna work?
Yeah, I've got a few strip mites here too, so.
We could,
I've
we
got
grab
your
that if
TV
we,
number there, Michelle.
You have to help me a lot.
Yeah, that's okay, it's right here. There you go.
First time around.
My mute's on my piano right now. That's
Oh, no,
good.
it's the back. Let's see.
should we grab the street meat if we have one?
If you have one, sure. Yeah. Let's just mute off the middle section, you know.
Might have to borrow this strip.
Yeah, you bet. Just pull it out.
As long as you give it back.
Mine's in my piano right now.
Oh, napkins.
Just come in.
So sorry.
Just come in.
I'm out of here now.
Thanks, love.
Bye.
Okay, basically the way I start, I mean, there's different ways, legitimate ways of doing it, but my way's the best. Oh gosh, there comes that ego, I thought I left it at the door.
There you go.
So anyway, I usually mute off the whole piano. That means I stick a felt between all the, you know, the unisons, the trichords, and then down to the bichords, and then of course nothing goes right down at the bottom. So
To clear the overtones?
yeah, well, I just need to deal with one string at a time, right? In order to tune,
That
so
sounds like a male problem.
yeah, that's right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute off the center section. Usually I do the whole piano, but I'm just going to do the center section right now. So Michelle, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
I think maybe you and I will work together
Yeah,
if
I
you're
was gonna
okay
say, I
with
think I
that.
need a TA.
Are you using
Yeah,
this one?
go for it.
Well, I don't know if I'm the best person for that, but I'll try my best.
Well, you know what? Anything will be great.
Okay, so I've got my fork here,
What's that over there?
and
Oh no.
Okay,
I'm
going
just-
to,
yeah, good. That's great, right?
and we're gonna mute off the.
So while you're doing that, I'm just going to let y'all hear my fork. Now Gerard has one of those fancy machines that he uses.
Here we go again. I might commit mutiny here.
I hope you are, because that's what we're doing,
I
right?
don't do this with the mute very often, I can tell.
So there's the A.
That's an 8, yeah.
So you can feel what I'm doing here. I'll just move to the right.
Is this the...
Don't let Gerard's jokes phase you guys, okay?
Yeah. Oh, they're jokes.
Now, if you
Is it phase?
feel
Phase?
Phase. I see. Yes.
with a strip of felt,
Very good.
right?
See, that went right over my head.
George is trying to meet our felt.
Because it wasn't a very good joke.
Okay, like I said, here's the A.
What do you put that against?
His knee out of the piano frame, Michelle.
Somebody else want to give me an A?
Go ahead.
Oh, we got all kinds of things going on there, don't we, eh?
Mine's strong.
I only got one string played.
Okay, it's Rob, is it?
Yes.
Pretty sharp there, Michelle.
Yeah, it is.
Let's listen to Rob's. What do you think about that?
This is sharp.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It just sounds sharp, right? Is there a way we can objectively figure that out? Like, say we don't quite know, you know? Can we
Use a
figure?
machine.
Yeah, I use a machine.
Do you not use a machine?
No, I don't
Oh,
use
is
a
that right?
machine at all.
He is a machine.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We can figure that out, by the way.
Okay.
You remember this sheet here? We talked about the different, harmonic structure. So here's the one we want to tune. If we go 2 octaves plus a third down there, so we're not quite sure whether Rob's piano is sharp or flat, or we know it doesn't sound quite right, but we're gonna find out. Okay, when I hit this fork and this note at the same time, we're gonna get a beat speed. Anybody know why we're gonna get a beat speed?
It's the third.
And a third is a fast beating interval, right? Does that make sense to anybody? A third is a fast beating interval, and we've got 2 octaves plus a third, so we're going to hear a beat speed. Let's listen to it. Somebody want to just give me some kind of indication about what speed we're listening to there? Just go ding, 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 or whatever. Yeah, that's about right, right? Pretty clear, right? Ding, 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 ding. Out there. Now, I'll get you to play your note. The A.
Okay.
Oh, much faster.
It's faster, right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about Rob's note?
Sharper.
It's sharp, not because we're using our, just keen sense of
Ear.
pitch or hearing. I always tell my customers if there's a problem, I'll tell you a little story. I went to Tawasin a while back, just a couple of weeks back. And this lady, who's a really good singer actually, she's getting on in years. So I'm wondering if maybe her hearing is, suffering a little bit. But she phoned me up and she said, that one note, it was somewhere up here somewhere. I think it was an A. She says, it's terribly sharp. This is awful. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods, and the next little while I'll come and we'll have a listen to it. Well, I got there, and it wasn't sharp, but, through all the years I've been doing this, I learned how to be a bit of a politician. And so I said, okay, you're really hearing it sharp. And so I says, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just, mute off the string so we can just listen to one string at a time. And I'm going to just nudge it down till you tell me when, when you think it sounds better to you. And so she said, okay. And we nudged it down, and I says, what does that sound like? Gosh, it still sounds sharp to me. And so I nudged it down a little bit more. Yeah, it's still sounding sharp. Well, I got to about somewhere between a third and a half of a semitone.
Oops.
And then I plucked the strings, and she still couldn't hear the difference. And it was getting to the point where it would have been, that's the semitone down, right?
Yeah.
And it was getting uncomfortably close to that. And then we played the chromatic scale, and she says, well, on the way up it sounds sharp, and on the way down it sounds flat,
Oh my.
right? But and then I told her what I've told a lot of my customers when there's a question. I says, I don't rely on my hearing, which is a bit of a surprise. I said, I rely on hearing beat speeds, which I can actually objectively count. There's the beat speeds don't lie.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing this note down here, and I'm listening to that beat speed, can everybody still hear that? And then I listen to Rob's note there. And that's quite a difference. So we know Rob's note is sharp. So that's the first thing that I do in tuning a piano. I don't see how you can do it any differently. You get to your pitch for the overall piano, and so you tune it down. Have you had some tuning experience already? Or, yeah. So you want to tune that down a bit. I'll just keep hitting this. Well, that's a lot closer, isn't it?
Too low, maybe. If you break a string, you replace it.
I mean, very
Okay, well
carefully.
that's pretty good for now. Let's check it out.
Piano tuners don't break strings. Strings break.
Hey, you must have been in one of my other classes.
So what's the comment there? I just missed the first part.
Piano tuners don't break strings. Strings break.
Did I tell you that that's what George told me years ago?
No, he told me that.
Yeah,
You didn't tell me. He told me that.
Yeah, but George told me that one.
And I've told that to many, many clients.
Yeah, exactly.
And not broken any of their strings.
Did you break the
For
note?
sure, absolutely. Okay, so what we're going to do now, going to play this note down here, which is 2 octaves plus a third low. We're using that because we're getting to a fast beating interval up here. And somebody also said, some wise person that didn't come from me, somebody else, so I don't know who it was, said that if you can tune a unison, you know, just 2 strings, anywhere in the piano, you can tune a piano. So that sounds pretty easy. There's a reason why that's really true. Because when you're listening to beat speeds and you're matching things up and you're checking with intervals, you know, using this kind of a test, you're always dealing with a unison. Whenever you're tuning an interval, you're hearing overtones that both those notes in the interval have in common. That's why you're hearing these beat speeds, because you're dealing with overtones that are actually a unison. Make sense?
Should be a unison.
Should be a unison. Yeah. So we're going to find out how Rob did here. No, just let's listen to this beat speed first. Got that in your head? Okay, play the A. What do you think?
It's a little sharp still. Right? A little faster, right?
Try it again.
But okay, this is where the you know, listening to the beat speed comes in.
Rob's.
Let's do it again. Okay. Let's listen to Rob's.
Oh, it's slow.
Can you tell which one was faster, which one was slower? Was the fork with this note faster or slower than the note with Rob's A?
Faster.
Right? Okay, Rob's note.
About half the speed.
So what does that mean about Rob's note? Is it sharp or flat?
Flat.
It's flat, because his beat speed, we should say one other thing. The reason why we're getting a beat speed there is because we're dealing with an interval, 2 octaves plus a third, which is wide. Okay? We could get a beat speed if we were dealing with the interval that was narrow as well. Do you understand that terminology, wide and narrow? Why am I not talking in terms of, oh, I had a bloody nose. Why am I not talking in terms of sharp or flat? Because I'm dealing with, what's that?
Because you want to count, you don't want to listen.
Yeah, I'm dealing with an interval, right? So I can talk about sharp or flat if I'm talking about the top note or the bottom note in the interval, but I can't talk in terms of sharp or flat if I'm dealing with an interval. Then I have to talk in terms of either the interval is wide, or it's narrow, or it's perfectly in tune. There's no beats.
Because the relationship to each other.
That's right, the relationship to each other, right. So, 2 octaves plus a third, we are talking about a wide interval. That's why we're hearing the beat speed. So when I hit my fork, which is kind of close to the A right now, and this, I'm dealing with a wide interval. That's where we're getting our beat speed from. Right? And then he's playing his A, and we've already determined that his A is slower than the fork. That means that his wide interval is narrower than my wide interval, which means that his note has got to come up a bit. Make sense? I guess. Thank you. I guess no, don't worry about it. It's just a confirmation. Thanks.
You rang a bell with somebody.
So, do you wanna tweak it up a
I
tiny
feel like
bit?
I'm being made an example of in front of the group. I'm very uncomfortable. No, I'll try.
Turn your bench around, you got the...
Oh, yeah, this is a
it's
weird bench.
slanted.
Can I use a different one?
Okay. That's a player piano bench.
Oh,
It's
is it?
slanted so that you don't fall. It's true, because you're pumping.
That's why they're slanted?
Yes.
Oh. Neat.
What are you hearing?
Well, I'm a little out with the fork.
Yeah.
Okay, do it again. Still a little bit low, I think. You know what? I don't know if it's low or high.
Yeah, well, let's do this again. You know, I probably will demonstrate what I do, you know, in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
But let's find out where you're at right now. Okay, Rob? Is he sharp or flat?
Sharp to me.
Why?
Faster than the beats on your.
I can't. Can you hit the note here? Because I can't hear the beats.
Okay.
Maybe if I come here.
There's always a joker in everything.
Messing with my mind,
Nice,
Gerard.
Gerard.
Now I can hear.
Can you hear them?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Here's the fork. Take that off. Can you hear that, Rob?
No, hit it again, sorry. Yes.
Now, aren't you trying to eliminate those beats?
Yes. Well, I'm not trying to eliminate these beats.
No?
Those, not between
I'm
the
trying-
fork and you, but
Right.
between him and you, between your A and his A, or your C, or whatever you're playing,
Right.
your fifth and his fifth.
So let me see what we can do here. See, that's a lot different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, if I run, this note is actually sharp. If I were to tune this piano, I would discover that this note is sharp because there's not very much of a beat speed there. I should say something else. This is all about aural tuning, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear anything else besides that low kind of, right now it's going, Michelle, I'm moving my head to illustrate the beat speed.
Okay.
And I'm moving my head about, what would you say, once every 2 seconds, once every second and a half, something like that. It's very, very slow.
Yeah, it is.
That's why the rock and rollers do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? Can you hear anything else?
The octave itself seems to be going quick.
Yeah, there's another sound, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was hearing, because when you said the beat speed was slow, I heard the fast.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's the trick. That's one of the tricks about
Oh.
aural tuning, is you have to kind of be able to isolate the sound
Okay.
that you're after, right?
So
Because there's a sound there that's beating quite slow, but there's another one up here.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
Okay, wrong one. You have to get, that's not the one we're listening to. We're listening to the double octave plus a third.
is that because there's no mutes up here and it's ringing, or is it a part of the string?
Good question. Let's find out. So we're just gonna mute this off. Get rid of that. Okay, so now we're gonna find out whether that note isn't able to do anything, right?
Still there.
Still there?
So does that mean it's a harmonic of the string? Oh, okay.
It's a harmonic of the string plus the tuning fork. The
Right.
tuning fork is also, giving you the high
Right.
pitch. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hear a beat, right?
Right.
So what I started out with saying was, this string down here, that one is sharp, and I know it's sharp because there's very, very little, very, very little beat speed there. So I'm just going to create a faster beat speed so we can hear. That should do. Ding, 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 ding.
Do you think of beat speeds, like, do you measure them per second? Is that how you do it? Is that how you think?
No,
Okay.
not really. I'm just always making comparisons, so it doesn't really matter
Okay.
how many per second there are. That's a little bit fast for what we want, so I'm just going to slow it down a bit.
A tuner friend of mine said for measuring beat speeds, a breath in is about a second. So if you're going, and it's going well, 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 well. If you got 7 in there, then it's fast. If you got 3 and a breath in, if it's going 1, 2, 3, then it's that's what he measures it for some time reference of a second.
Right, because that's not totally true what I just said. I'm always making comparisons. That's true. But in slow beating intervals, like say a fourth or a fifth, especially a fourth, I'm looking for about 1 beat a second
Okay.
on the wide side. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later. But
This is complicated.
240 strings,
Yeah.
multiple harmonics per string.
yeah,
220. Where'd you get 240 from?
Oh, I don't know, just guessing, I guess. Somewhere up there. Just guessing, piano tuners,
what I just did is something that's kind of gross, but I always do it. I stick the fork in my mouth so I have both hands free to do the tuning. I hear the sound in my head.
That's Gerard's tuning fork too, right?
I
Nice.
checked with him. He said he doesn't have any bad diseases, so
Nice.
we're okay.
That's closer to your piano, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're dealing with something that's sharp. So we're just going to nudge that down a bit.
piano was slated for the dump, and I saved it. I rescued it.
Good.
Nice wood, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
What kind of wood is it? Is it?
Looks small, but to me.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So this is how you get your starting note when you start tuning?
Yes, this is how I get my starting note. You know what? In terms of practicing, we should probably, if you have a tuning wrench, how many people here have a tuning wrench?
Everybody.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be a little funny because everybody's going to be tuning at the same time. Do you all understand what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay, so now we've got our A. It's pretty close to an A.
Yeah.
So that's really close, right? Let's check it out. Can you hear that beat speed?
So that's 2 octaves down?
2 octaves plus a third.
So if you had to give a beat speed per second that you're looking for, what would it be, do you think?
Well, again, here it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just a comparison.
Okay.
It's the speed of the bottom note with the fork compared to the speed of this note with the bottom note.
So you know both those are in tune.
Pardon me?
Now you can reference both those notes because their relationship to each other is sound.
Yeah.
Is that why you do them both? Like, I'm just wondering why not just do the A? Like, I see the usefulness in.
Right. And that's a good question, and you know, I can get really close now with just listening to the A and comparing it to the fork. I can get really close, right?
Okay, so you want to be using the fork to tune the octave and third under, not just the note you tuned with the fork, not just the reference note?
I'm not quite sure I'm getting it.
Like, I'm just wondering why you're tuning the octave down and third under also with the fork and not.
I'm not.
You're not. Oh.
I'm just. Before it was such a slow beating interval, I just wanted to make it faster. I don't care really how much faster, just a little bit faster so I can hear it, right? Just as a reference point.
Okay.
So now I'm getting ding, 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 ding. About that speed.
I'm hearing something else here.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody's taking a leak.
So
Sorry about that, is that bugging you?
it's okay.
Do you want me to stand outside or in the corner?
No, just throw money.
Where's your hat?
So, anyway, the reason why we're spending so much time on this is number one, it's getting our first note, which is pretty important. But number two, that principle of using a test to find out where you're at, we're going to use that for octaves and fifths and fourths. And as soon as you get all those, meshing the way they're supposed to be, you're off to the races. And there is a test for all three of those intervals. There's a test for a double octave. And it's the same kind of thing. You're comparing two beat speeds, and because you can listen to the beat speed difference, which is really subtle. I mean, if there's a difference of 1 beat speed per second, you can actually hear that quite obviously. And
Can I ask a question about that? About checking them? Does that include the stretch temperament when you're when you're down? So if that one they're now in tune with each other, now do you have to stretch that down also?
let's talk about stretch.
I don't want to move ahead.
It's a good. It kind of fits into the
Okay.
the process. So has everybody here heard about stretching the octaves? Yeah, a little bit. The idea is that you need to kind of nudge the octave a little bit wide in order for the piano to sound good. That's true, and it's not true. If we look at our chart here, the first line is the whole string vibrating. You're hearing the fundamental or the lowest sound that that string is able to produce. Then the string divides itself in half and you're getting the octave above, all right? So let's talk about stretch. What's actually happening when the string is dividing itself in two and you're getting two halves vibrating? And you're getting the fundamental sound is this one. We'll go with the C. The fundamental sound is that. I'll hold it open, and we're hearing that. Okay, so what's actually happening there? Are you getting? Say it's below A quite a ways. Let's just call this. Let's say it's vibrating at 150 cycles a second. In terms of the fundamental string, the whole string vibrating in an arc, it's going 150 times a second. This should theoretically be what?
300.
300. Is it? Is the second harmonic of this note actually vibrating at 300? No, it's not. You know why it's not? Is because see that little piece where the junction of the two halves are meeting? There's a little, the wire has stiffness in it. There's a little bit in the middle that's not moving very much. So now you've got two halves minus a little bit.
That's why you have to stretch it? That's why that's interesting.
That little bit in the middle is not moving. So now you've got half a string. But do you have half a string? No, you don't have half a string.
99.5%.
You have, exactly. You have half a string minus a little bit. What happens when you shorten a string? What happens to the pitch?
It's higher.
It gets higher. So actually, that second harmonic that you're hearing from this note, right there, it is actually a little higher than 300. So the reason why you have to stretch the octave is because if you don't, it's always going to be perpetually flat. But the reason why you don't have to stretch the octave is because that note and the overtones that it's producing are already stretched. You don't want to really stretch the octave more than the note dictates that you stretch it.
So that will make a difference whatever piano you're tuning.
Absolutely.
Whereas those of us that tune by the scope, one size fits all, whereas this is very custom tuning.
Does your scope have a chart or anything that says if you tune a spinet piano, this is where you put the notes? If you tune a 9-foot grand, this is where you put the notes?
It may have, but I never read
Well,
it.
because that would depend on the total string length. Because a really long string with a small point in the middle will need less stretching than a short, right? Is that why?
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Absolutely.
That's complicated.
Well, it is and it isn't. Once you understand it, it's pretty,
Yeah.
it makes sense, right? So you have a long string. Let's take a 9-foot grand. This C on a 9-foot grand, the string is actually quite a bit longer, right? What about the thickness of the string too? That's interesting. What do you think about the thickness of the string in comparison with this piano when you compare it with a 9-foot grand? Is the string thicker or thinner on a grand?
Thicker.
No.
Thinner?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know why? When you lengthen a string, the pitch goes down.
Oh, okay.
So you can get away with a thinner string because you've got a long string. So a long string can be a little bit thinner. If it's a little bit thinner, you actually decrease that little part in the middle that's
Right.
not moving because the string isn't so
Right.
so inflexible. It's more flexible when it's thin.
And a percentage of the whole total string length that's smaller too.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
So, when on a, do you find this interesting? Is it helpful at all? You know, we're getting our minds around the whole aural tuning process, and this all kind of fits into it. On a grand, and on a 9-foot grand piano, in comparison with this one, or it would be even, I'll say worse, on a spinet. On a grand piano, the low note is higher, and the high note is lower. On a 9-foot grand piano, all the notes are compressed into a shorter bracket because the inharmonicity isn't so bad.
That's a word I've been reading about. Now, does that have something to do with what you're talking about, the middle of the string, or is that just about the construction and the overall makeup of the piano?
No, it has to do with the string,
Okay.
the string thickness, the string length, and those little bits that aren't moving because of the stiffness of the string. Now, when you think about this, we're just talking about one harmonic, the string dividing itself in 2 pieces. What happens when the string divides itself in 3 pieces? Now there's 2 little bits that aren't moving,
Right.
and you've got 3 pieces that are shorter
Right.
than mathematically perfect, right? So, I mean, that's all about stretch, and it does kind of fit into our conversation. So let's,
So that Bach all-key tune would sound better on a really large piano than it would on a really small one.
yeah, it would. Yeah.
You don't need your acupuncture.
So let's, it's 11 o'clock. Let's take a bit of a break, but before we take a bit of a break, and then the second half we're going to get into just some real practical kinds of things. There's nothing I can do, I wish I could, but there's nothing I can do to accelerate the process that's involved in practice. Right? Once you get this information and you train your ears to hear what you're supposed to hear, and then you put in the time and practice, I took a 2-year course, and before I tuned anybody's piano, I had put in 300 hours of supervised practice. Okay. Then I could do a relatively good job of tuning a piano. And you know what, it's interesting because I've been doing this for 32 years, and I feel like I've heard things more clearly and more plainly in the last 5 years. It's still
You never stop
still
learning.
developing something.
I think as we get older, we get pickier. I
Yeah, that
find
could be too.
You're
Yeah,
just getting much more honed, I think.
yeah.
Where did you take your initial course?
They offered a course at Douglas College in New Westminster in 1981, I think it was.
Yeah, it's too bad they don't have those.
Yeah, yeah.
Do they offer them anywhere now? Like,
I think you can still take one in Canada at George Brown College, but I'm not 100% sure of that. It's a 2-year course.
yeah. I thought you were saying there was one around here that you knew someone who's taking a 2-year piano tuning course at a college or something. BCIT or something. No.
No, it's probably Rob.
Oh,
who's
I
taking
didn't
it
want to
from,
mention that,
Oh.
but I'm taking a Randy Potter course.
It's online or...
Well, it's old style correspondence, but you communicate with them. They have DVDs and stuff. So I didn't want to say this because I really know about I feel like a mere infant, but I have done some of that where you're just listening to beats, and I got to the point where I wasn't sure what I was hearing anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh brother.
And there's all kinds of beats that
Yeah.
you actually need to eliminate.
Yeah, but
You know?
but I will say, and I haven't tuned that many pianos, but I do use a machine. But one thing I've noticed in tuning pianos is I just put the machine aside at some point, and I know if a fifth doesn't sound right, if it's fast beating and it shouldn't be. That's one thing that I've got, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So let's open it up for some questions, and then we'll have a snack, and then we'll...
Can I just ask you a question? You
Yeah.
keep smacking, Michelle can't see it, but what he's doing is hitting the tuning fork on
Yeah,
his knee. Can I
yeah.
just ask you, have you got a wooden leg? Requisite for piano tuners.
You hit it on the soft bit of your leg.
No, let
He's
me,
had a few
You're gonna do yourself
replacements.
damage.
Can I have some information?
I actually hit it on the top.
There is
I'm not hitting
a,
it
I'll tell
on
you in a
the,
second.
I'm hitting on the top, the fleshy part. And
Oh, I see.
I've been doing it for, like I say, for over 30 years.
Is your wheelchair outside?
And this knee is actually better than this one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to use. I
What
could
do
use-
the other people do?
I think they hit it on their knee.
Tim, what do you got? What do you do?
I generally use my knee, yeah, I think so, and sometimes on a padded bench, like Gerard.
Yeah, I only use a fork for breakfast.
If you don't like your customer, you can just use their piano.
Yeah.
You know, put marks all over it. No, I'm hitting it on the top. So that's a good question.
That's why Chinese piano tuners don't do so well. They're not accustomed to
Oh,
forks.
brother.
They use chopsticks, right? Chopsticks don't work so well. Anything else? Like, is this is the time when you can ask questions and, you know, it sounds like really fundamental or elementary and all that stuff. Whatever, you know. Something I've said you don't understand.
Well, like since there is a lot going on, like you had to troubleshoot that it wasn't the overtone of an unmuted string up
Yeah.
top, stuff like that. So I was tuning mine at home. The reason my string's not here is because I'm tuning mine at home and it's, you know, no problems with overtones up to here, but up to here it's seeming like, hey, I got that in tune, but it's still wobbly, and so I muted all these up here to take out some of the noise, 2/3 of the noise, maybe. How would you get around that other than that way? Would you like quick tune these to unisons or just, you know, somewhere within range so that they're not making this more difficult? Because I wasn't hearing the real beat of the strings I was trying to
You're
tune.
hearing a
I was
sympathetic.
hearing a sympathetic overtone of something up here, maybe.
Yeah.
I noticed once I muted them, it was gone and it was easier to tune these. Is
Okay.
that, like, how would you...
Well, see,
And it's an old piano and it was
Yeah,
rickety and
well,
maybe
yeah.
had some mute. I might have made it to... The action might have not been as strong muting the strings as it ought to be. You know?
Yeah. I think all I can say is, like, I don't have that problem now, because I think my ear has developed to the point where I'm actually zeroing in on the, you know, the harmonic or the
Okay.
that I'm supposed to be listening for.
Yeah.
And I do. I mean, if I actually paid attention now to what I'm doing, which I don't often because it's, you know, quite automatic by this point. But I know that I'm eliminating a lot of sounds that I'm hearing. I'm just eliminating them automatically and saying that's not what I want to be listening for.
Right.
Right?
Okay. Because
So
that's sort of what I thought. I'm like, hold on, that doesn't seem in the range of the thing I'm hearing. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
But I couldn't ignore it, so I just muted them. But okay, that's good to
Yeah.
know.
And when I tune a piano, it's my way of doing things. Some people don't. Some people just mute the center part and then use the, what's it called, Paps mute or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what Gerard uses.
Yeah, to just do, you know, the individual strings.
Yeah.
I like to tune the whole piano so that I get one string per note.
Yeah.
That's where I want it.
And then and then you just do all the unisons.
Then I do all the unisons, yeah.
And
That's the way I do it.
and
It's
you're-
not,
I was gonna say, when I was doing that for that assignment, I noticed some of it would bleed through, and it would, but you've probably done it so long, you just ignore
yeah,
that.
I do. I'm sure that I'm eliminating
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
sympathetic stuff.
You don't find that, like, so if you use the strip mute on all of them, so you just got the singular note for each string, you tune it all in, this piano sounds great, take it off, and as you're, or not take it off, but as you're doing each one, you're changing the overall tension on the harp. You don't find that it changes your tuning of the whole piano from
You-
where you originally had it?
You're talking about whether the piano was maybe a bit flat or a bit sharp or whatever?
Yeah, like as because
Yeah.
if you've got all the middle strings perfect, and then you're raising, let's say it's 10% flat overall, and you're raising all those other two strings on each side, so it doesn't change.
Absolutely it does.
Oh, yeah.
And if I'm dealing with a piano that's below pitch significantly, like 10 cents is actually significant.
Right. You can't do it that way. It has to be pretty close for you to do it that way.
Well, what I tell my customer if it's a pitch raise situation, now some people will handle it differently. I tell my customer this piano is significantly below pitch, and then I go through the whole thing about, you know, what's actually happening with the piano when I'm tuning it and bringing it up to the right pitch. I say even as I'm doing the tuning, everything is changing.
Yeah.
So I can't tune this piano so that it's really nicely in tune in one tuning. I can't do it. Now I could go through it all twice today, Mrs. Jones, and I would charge you extra for my extra time. And then in 2 weeks, all that, the extra money that I've charged you to get it really nicely in tune, in 2 weeks, that extra money will be down the tubes. What I suggest, Mrs. Jones, is that you let me do a ballpark tuning. I'll do the best job I can, and then in a month from now, I'll come back and do it the second time after the piano's done what it's going to do.
Yeah. And you just shoot from the hip for the pitch raise. You kind of just.
Well, you know, I do and I don't, and I guess it's because of, you know, the years or whatever.
Yeah.
I do stretch the octaves.
You
Yeah.
just so on it. You stretch over and pull it and up.
Yeah,
and up.
well, I just exaggerate everything because
Yeah.
I know these strings up top, these strings are going to go flatter
Yeah.
than the middle ones are, and so I try to
Yeah.
do a preemptive strike. And
Right.
you know, I'm tuning all the octaves.
That's what Gerard taught me. I pitch raise with a machine myself, but if it's, you know, let's say they're all about the same, and these need to be stretched up. I'll stretch them, 20 up or 25 up, so that they end up resting more around the stretch, and then.
I'm coming clean. I taught him all the wrong things so that he wouldn't be my competition.
I used to tune orally just as a hobby. Like, I just wanted to do it. So I just learned and started doing it. And I learned the beats and stuff, and I didn't even know there was scopes, to do the whole piano.
Yeah.
So I would just use a reference pitch and do it. And then he taught me the scope way, which I love to do faster.
Yeah, because it's.
But I want to get better at the oral thing. Which is
Yeah,
here.
yeah. A quick question from anybody else? Is all this stuff kind of making sense so far? Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay,
Let's,
everybody,
have a snack.
I've already ordered our lunch for noon. It's Chinese food.
Back on the
So,
chopsticks thing.
you eat
mate.
Chinese food?
I don't know, but what time are you gonna have lunch?
Noon.
Okay, I'll probably be there.
Yeah.
You can have whatever I have.
Yeah.
Well, you're.
Okay, so you're saying that we don't have much time,
Are you
right?
gluten free as well?
No, we're vegan. We're not gluten free.
Oh, you're vegan.
Yeah.
I didn't know
There's,
that.
there's a
Sorry.
Oh, it
difference.
doesn't matter. I don't eat meat, fish, and eggs. If it
Well-
smiles, I don't eat it.
Exactly.
We've got some salads and stuff, so you guys can.
Do you want to forego a snack?
I could use like a little mental rest. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, absolutely, sure.
I just have to pee.
Yeah, me too.
It's great, by the way.
I'm gonna run downstairs, Gerard.
Great, yeah.
Wherever you like.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
how you in that water course.
With A440 being the place where you start, which is actually outside of that octave. Does that make sense,
Yeah, it
Michelle?
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I am going to tune, and I'm just going to go through and explain and try to get you to listen to what I'm hearing and explain what I'm doing. So tuning this octave might take like 20-25 minutes, just because I'm going to slow the whole process down. And so, that A might not be what I would settle for in a concert situation, but it's really close, all right? So we're going to tune the octave below it. Now, here's another thing. always having to make, you know, these conditional statements. People, there's no really right way to tune a temperament octave in the middle in terms of which note follows which note. Okay? People do it differently. This is kind of my way, all right? And I probably even deviate from my own tuning sermon. You know? But we're going to tune the octave down from A440. What are you hearing? You like that?
No.
You don't like that?
Is that the George Clausen skit?
You know what? I think this sounds. You've heard this, I'm sure. That sounds so nice and warm. You know, when you
Like a
tune the
sunny
piano. Have you had this experience? You go and tune a piano, and it was really quite badly out of tune, and you tune it all nice, and you pour your heart and your soul into it, and then your customer says, "It sounds so cold now."
No.
So, what do you think we ought to do with that note? Should we raise it, or you don't like it? We've established that you don't like that octave.
So is this what you do when you start tuning a piano? Or you're, like you've got the A already, right?
I've got the A.
Okay, so we're starting from the premise that A is in tune?
Yeah,
Okay.
got the A. How are we going to know what to do with that note? Do you know already?
Play this separate?
This is the A. This is the octave down.
The lower one is sharp, right?
A beat per second or 2 beats per second.
There's a whole bunch of beats going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Let's do one other thing. We'll hold this this idea. Sorry for jumping around so much, but I think this is important. Remember our overtone series? Octave, fifth, double octave, third, double octave, fifth, double octave, seventh, triple octave. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
Can I have some help here? I need somebody else's fingers.
Go for it, Michelle.
Oh, it's okay. What do you?
Yeah, okay. Come on in here, Michelle. I will. This is our A right
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
We're starting from an F down here.
Okay. So what do you
Well, no, let's start from the A down here.
Okay.
That's the A.
Okay.
Just hold that down. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. That's the fifth. You understand what I'm doing? You're playing the bottom. I'm playing the octave up. Then we're going to the fifth. Then we're going to go to a
Second octave.
double octave from the bottom, right? Double octave from the bottom. Right? Double octave. Okay, we've got all those pressed down. Need your other finger right here. That's a double octave third, the D flat. That's a double octave third. Okay, that's okay. We don't even really need to listen to it. We need some more fingers.
Go ahead, Josh. Kieran.
We've mapped out. Let's go to.
Is this like a game of Twister?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly like that. We've mapped out the bottom. We mapped out the bottom note. Now we want to map out the top note. So starting here, give me an octave above that. Put your, even though it's on my finger already. No, where's the octave above the A?
You talking about this one?
Yeah. No, just hold it on the same one. I just want to see your finger on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we've got that's the octave above the top note, right? So then we've got the fifth, right, above the top note. So it's an octave fifth. Somebody else put their finger on this one here.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what we've got in terms of those two notes, this one and the bottom one that Michelle was holding there, where are the notes in common. We should have somebody else's finger, just keep it there.
Yep.
Should have somebody else's finger right there.
Come on, get into the piano twister.
You know why? Why do we want somebody else's finger in there?
On which note now?
The octave. Let's figure out which notes or the harmonics that everything has in common. So the harmonics in common between the bottom A and the top A are, Gerard's got his finger on the same note that I've got my little finger on. Everybody understand that? Mm-hmm. Why? Because Gerard's finger is on the fundamental of A440. My finger is on that same note because it's the octave above the bottom note. So that's the first harmonic you're going to hear that's in common with those two notes. But then there's another one. Where's the next one? It's not the fifth.
So are
it's-
all these notes
that
get tuned by the eighth?
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
See, this note here, it's got two fingers on it as well, which represents harmonics that those two notes have in common. It's the double octave of the bottom note, and it's the octave of the top note, and you're going to hear a beat speed there. There's another one that has got two fingers on it, and that is the double octave fifth from the bottom and the octave fifth from the top note. The reason I'm saying all this is because when we're trying to tune, okay, that's good enough.
So that's how you can check, because in relationship to each other, like there'll be a different beat speed between this and this, as well as this and this, as well
Right.
as this and this and that.
So how are we going to tune an octave? We've got all those harmonics that those two notes have in common. What are we going to do with all those harmonics? So we've determined that it's sharp. Let's just check, all right? If we go to a test, which is a third from the bottom note, can you hear that beat speed? It's quite fast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, right? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's check this one. Slower or faster?
Slower.
A lot slower. Which means that the bottom note is sharp, right? Because it's creating a faster beat speed than the F to the A440 as opposed to the F to the A an octave lower would be somewhere around 220. Which means that that octave is sharp. Got it? But which common harmonic are we talking about? There's a common harmonic here. There is a common harmonic here. And there's a common harmonic up here. And there's a common harmonic up there. So which one are we listening to? Well, let's find out. If we map this note, the bottom where we're getting the beat speed from, we go an octave above that, a fifth above that, double octave above that. Oh, look at this. All three of these notes have a common harmonic at this location. Yeah, understand? A little sketchy?
Little sketchy.
All three of these notes, the one we're using as a test note, which is the F, the A, a third above it, and the A, an octave and a third above it, we are wanting to tune this octave, and we're using the F as a test note. For both those notes, the reason why we're getting a beat speed here and a beat speed here with the same harmonic, which is here, right? Can you hear that? Not just the beat speed, but the location of where that beat speed is happening. Let's just slow it down just a titch.
Did you speed it up?
Slow it
I
down.
slowed it down.
You did, eh?
Ding, 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 ding. fast, but where is that pitch happening? I'll tell you where.
It's a high note.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Is that where you wanna hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I was hearing. Okay, now.
Hear that? It's the same, right? The reason why I'm choosing a third is because it's the second place where those two notes have a harmonic in common, which is right there. I mean, I could choose the first place, which is down here, and we would have to go to a fifth, I think, for a test for that. But if I tune this octave so that I'm listening to the second harmonic of the bottom note and the fundamental of the top note, I'm not going to have enough stretch, because that's not the only place where those two notes have a harmonic in common. Not here. They also have a harmonic in common here. They have a harmonic in common here, and they have a harmonic in common here. So we are isolating this harmonic, which is kind of middle of the road in terms of tuning that octave. I don't know if that made any sense. It made sense to me, but it's you know.
The only thing that's stretching is my brain.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's all a little bit more technical than we need to get right now. Let's just tune the darn octave. So we're going to move this down, not because we can obviously hear it, and because the test told us we needed to move it down. Yeah?
The test being the F.
The test being the F.
That test is so that we don't have to just tune it a little bit flat and see if that helps.
Yeah,
And then tune it a little bit sharper.
Yeah, the test tells you exactly where that note is. So we're going to tune this down.
Can I ask a dumb question now? I can't.
There are no dumb questions. Go ahead.
Did you tune the F? Get it in the ballpark, or just
Just
any?
to get it in the ballpark,
Okay,
just
okay.
so we could hear a bit. Okay.
Gotcha.
Do you like that? What don't you like about it, Jared?
Do it again. It's,
Too wide,
it
isn't
sounds a little bit flat. Needs to go.
The bottom note sounds flat?
Yeah.
Let's check. Can you hear the beat speed there?
Oh, very fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's the wrong harmonic you're listening to.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, my ear always goes to the wrong one as well.
Because we're listening for the harmonic right there. That's at that location. And there's another one above it. It's very slow. In fact, it's so slow, I'm just gonna...
Now it's faster.
Hear that? Ding, 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 ding.
And you want that double octave to be beating 4 times a second, though, right?
No. Where did you get that from? I'm just wondering how you're.
I thought that's what that was telling us.
No, the double octave is just the string dividing itself in 4 pieces.
Oh, okay.
When the string divides itself in 4 pieces, you're going to end up with a double octave.
Okay.
Classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you get that? So sorry. I hope. Sorry. I hope that didn't damage your ego, but it's at the door over there. So I wouldn't worry
No
about
problem.
it.
Can you go
Ding,
back
ding,
to the
ding.
octave for 1 second? So was the octave too wide at first?
That's what we're going to find out. Right?
Okay.
That's the octave.
That sounds pretty close.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
me that sounds
It's
better.
pretty close. Pretty close.
Sounds like there's a butt coming.
Yeah.
I'm really genuinely testing it because I think it's not bad. The beat speed there. Ding, 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 ding.
So where do you want that beat speed to be for this test? to
Yeah,
say
good
it's
question.
right?
Yeah.
That's what
Let's
I'm
listen to
wondering.
this beat speed. Can you hear that?
So that's the 10th.
The 10th.
Should that be faster than the 3rd? The same or
It should be a tiny bit faster.
the 10th?
The 10th should
Okay.
be a tiny bit faster than the 3rd because we're talking about this interval, which is the 2nd out of 4. If we tune it to the place where the 2nd harmonic of this matches the fundamental of this, we're going to have an octave that's a bit too narrow. Make sense? If we tune it to the 2nd one, we might still have an octave that's a tiny bit too narrow, because if we tune it to the 3rd location, which is up here, we're going to have an octave that is a bit too sharp, and the bottom 2 places that that octave has in common in terms of harmonic, you know, the harmonic being in common, the bottom 2 are going to end up having beats in them that are a bit too fast. So we're hitting the middle of the road between the 4 places that we can quite clearly hear in the octave. First place that the octave has in common in terms of the harmonics being in common is right here. Second place is right here. Third place is right here. Fourth place is right here. So if we go for an octave that has a nice compromise between all 4 of those locations, we're going to have an octave that is just a titch wide of a 4-2 octave. 4-2 octave as opposed to a 2-1 octave. 4-2 octave is the 4th harmonic of this note, 2nd harmonic of this note. And then we're going to get a nice octave if we tune that octave so it's just a titch wide of the 4-2 location. Does that make sense? No? I've lost you?
Well, tune it and we'll see.
You can.
I still don't understand how you're going to have this whole piano tuned by noon. Because once you start tuning, you have to finish, right?
I can't hear anything now for some reason.
That sounds right.
That's pretty good. Those 2 beat speeds are really close together.
You wanted that octave to be a little slower, right?
I wanted the 10th to be a
To be a
little
little
bit
faster.
faster.
Yeah, it
than
is-
the
It is a
3rd.
little bit faster, right?
It's just ever so slight, but that's how close you can get.
Yeah.
We're well within 1 cent of where that note should be right now. Okay, now we're going to go to the 5th. Do you like that?
No.
Do it one more time.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa,
It's
whoa.
not a, and a 5th is supposed to be a pure sound, quite a pure sounding interval, right? Does everybody know that?
Amen.
Oh man, hey, let's go to church.
That's where we get.
Do we know
narrow
whether the
octaves.
we've tuned this one? Do we know whether this one's flat or sharp? How else are you gonna? What do you want to do to check it out?
You'd have to check their harmonics and
Check the 3rd below it.
Does the 3rd below it have a harmonic in common with those 2
I
notes?
don't know.
think about George now, this is probably wrong, being a guitar player, I know that's a power chord, and I know power chord shouldn't go wah 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 wah, so I'm just gonna, it sounds like it's high,
You know what, so you're saying, let's just experiment.
yeah.
Let's just make it better.
I
Make
know,
the thing better.
that's pretty technical, isn't it, on my part?
We're gonna speed the process up here a little bit, which our churchgoer friend is gonna say amen to.
Do you usually check on using a note under for the harmonic?
Yeah.
Is that because lower notes have less? The waves are slower. Easier
It's
to hear
hard
the
to-
differences between the waves.
It's hard to find a test above
Okay.
or in the middle of the interval that you're checking, because on one side is going to be a fast beating, on one side is going to be wide, the other side is going to be narrow.
Right,
So
okay.
we want a test where both of them are going to be
Over. Okay.
wide
Wide.
intervals, right? So this is a wide now. That's why you're hearing that beat speed. Suffice it to say, let's forget about all this technical stuff for a minute. Suffice it to say
No problem.
that a third, when you're tuning an octave, a third below the bottom note is a test for an octave.
Okay.
When
Only for the octave, yes.
For
Gotcha.
the octave. When you're tuning a fifth, test is a sixth below the bottom note. We should write this down maybe, or maybe
Well,
I
it's
can...
getting videotaped.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're tuning a fifth, a sixth below the bottom note is a test for that fifth.
Which is a third above the top note. An octave under, right?
No, it's an octave and a third.
Costello
An
routine.
octave.
Yeah, who's on fifth?
Hear that beat speed?
There is no beat. Or do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
And you're wanting to eliminate that beat, right?
No, that's a test. This is a test for a fifth. So we're going to compare this beat speed with this beat speed.
Oh, do that again? That's a lot slower than the other one.
Right.
That's about
Which
twice.
means that this fifth is wide or narrow.
Do it one more
Wide.
time.
Wide. It's a wide fifth. Which means that this has to come down, because this one's already in tune. So we're going to bring it down.
When you're testing on a fifth, use the sixth below.
What's that?
When you're testing for an octave, the third below should be slightly faster. When you're testing for a fifth, the sixth below should be what?
It's really quite a science. Too.
It's an octave. A good octave is slightly wide, which means that the third below the bottom note is going to be slightly slower than the 10th.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then what's that relationship for testing the fifth? What are we
The
looking at here?
fifth is a narrow interval. It's slightly narrow. It's the only one that's slightly narrow. And we're going to use a sixth to test it.
Because the six have to be faster, right?
Let's. What are you hearing? Faster or slower? Is this faster or slower than the? Is the sixth and the 10th? That's what we're talking about. Listen to that. Is that faster or slower than this?
That was faster.
Yeah.
This is slower.
The first one is faster?
Yeah.
I have to say I disagree with you guys.
What? Yeah, I was
think the
wondering. I
second
didn't
one
want to
was
say.
faster.
Try again.
This, the 10th,
That sounds faster.
ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding ding. Ding 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 ding. Ding
Yeah.
The bottom one is a little faster.
Yeah, the bottom one's faster.
Since we want a narrow interval, fifth, we've got one. That's pretty good. That's how you can check out a fifth.
So you want the bottom to be faster. You want the
Yes.
six below to be slightly faster
Yes,
rather than.
because we're dealing with a narrow interval.
Okay.
Wow. You getting all this, Michelle?
Yeah.
That's a fourth. Do you like it?
No.
Do you think we've tuned this one? That's the A below the A440. We're tuning the D to the A because the A is already in tune.
Yes.
It's beating too fast.
Yeah.
It's beating too fast because a fourth is also supposed to be quite a pure sounding interval. You've
But
heard
it's
of-
not 100% pure, is it?
No. You got all that theory stuff you took from your music teacher way back when you were 3 years old? When they said fourths and fifths are perfect intervals? They lied to you.
Again.
They did. Fourths are a tiny bit wide, and fifths are a tiny bit narrow.
I'm winning, they're my favorite intervals. I just read
I know, but you know, they're almost perfect. They're like human beings. You know, they're pretty close sometimes. We know we don't like it, okay? A test for a fourth. This is the third test, and it's probably the only three that you're going to use most of the time.
Okay.
Okay? A test for a fourth is a third below the bottom note, and that would be a sixth below the top note. Listen to that beat speed. Got it? Okay?
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Compared to this beat speed.
Is that slower?
Is that good?
Can you
Is
hear?
that like super fast?
Yeah, that's all.
I don't hear that.
Can you hear it? It's Rob, right?
Do it one more time.
Is that like super
Or is it
fast?
really
is what we're
slow?
hearing?
I think
You're gonna-
to me it sounds slow. I'm trying to hear, but
I hear
It's
something.
super fast, actually.
Okay, here's something leading like that, but I wasn't sure if it was the low one.
I just want you to hear it. Can you hear that
now
one?
I
Okay?
can. Yes. Yes.
You're going to be listening at the same pitch. The same pitch you will hear when you play this, the sixth. No, is it the sixth? It's the same place.
Can you slow that down a little for us?
Yeah. We have to slow it down.
Anyway, yeah.
Because this is slow, this is way fast, which means that this is a wide octave or a wide interval. It's supposed to be wide, but just a smidgen wide. It's way too wide. That's why we're hearing that fast beat. Do you like that?
That sounds better. I could live with that.
Can you hear anything? Any beat speed in there at all?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It will be at this location. Oh, as soon as I play it, then you can hear it. That would be really nice if we could tune the piano like that. But if we want to tune a piano equal
stretch.
temperament so that everything sounds equally good or equally bad, whatever your preference is, whether you're an optimist or pessimist, that's too pure actually.
It has to be faster.
Let's check it out. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. Let's check this out.
Much too fast?
They're pretty close to the same speed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, then, should they be?
No.
Okay.
Because it's a wide interval, we want we want about 1 beat a second on the wide side when we're talking about a 4th interval.
That's getting closer, isn't
That's about 1 beat a second.
it?
Can you hear the difference in beat speed there now?
Seems pretty wide of that.
It is quite wide.
Is this,
And maybe it's a little bit too wide, but if I were actually tuning this piano, I would probably settle for that. You know, I can fudge it later. So now we've gone through 4ths, 5ths, and octaves. A test for an octave is a 3rd below the bottom note. A test for a 5th is a 6th below the bottom note. A test for a 4th is a 3rd below the bottom note. When you're tuning a 4th and an octave, both of those are slightly wide intervals. At least at the, let's just keep it there. They're slightly wide intervals, so you want
which ones are they again, sorry?
the octave
Okay.
and the 4th
Okay.
are slightly wide intervals. The 5th is a slightly narrow interval. So, we're getting close here. Let's just, can we go for another 10 minutes or so?
Absolutely.
So now we've dealt with the 3 major tests that you're going to need when you're tuning a piano orally. Now you can just use your ear and tune all these intervals, you know, kind of, you know, what your ear tells you. But when you're getting close to where they should be, you're probably going to want to use a test. I still use tests all the time when I'm tuning a piano because I want to make sure that the note is where I want it to be, and I can do that using those interval tests.
Is that because if you're tuning on, let's say, a 5th, and it's supposed to be narrow slightly, so it's beating the proper amount, but it may be wide by that amount, not narrow by that amount, and that's what the test is for?
Absolutely.
Because then that'll be going wah, 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 instead of
Right.
slightly lower as it should be. Is that why?
That's a really good.
There's 2 places where it's going to beat that way. That distance flat and that distance sharp, right?
Yeah. Okay. This is a 5th. We've already tuned it. Now, do you like it? There's a right answer here. The right answer is yes. We love it.
You're the
Okay.
best teacher ever.
So that's a 5th, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
1 beat.
You know, it's almost like a slow walk by the beach. It's beautiful. It's just.
And that is narrow.
Yes, it's narrow. Now let's do some.
So same beat, but now it's wide.
Do you like that 5th?
I do.
It sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It has that slow roll in it. Right. Except that we're off by quite a bit, and it sounds just about as good as the other one did. The reason why it sounds just as good is like Josh was saying, is because now it's wide and it should be narrow.
Right.
And we're coming up with a pretty good sounding 5th, except that it's wrong.
When you're
And
saying
our
narrow,
test-
sorry, go ahead.
Our test will tell us that. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. It should be the other way around. The bottom beat speed. The bottom beat speed should be slower than the top beat speed.
Right.
We've got the opposite, which means we've got a wide 5th, and it should be a narrow 5th. That's where those tests come in handy.
Right.
So you had a question.
So if a 5th is supposed to be a little bit narrow, is it how much of a cent? Not that we're gonna be reading this, but just for like our own. Is a little bit narrow a quarter of a cent, a half a cent?
It's probably more like a cent and a half,
Oh, okay.
2 cents.
So then when you're on the wrong side of it, you're like 3 or 4
That's-
cents off.
yeah,
Right,
that's
okay,
right. That's right. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to rapidly go through this.
Is there an order?
Not really. If you end up with the right, octave with all 12 notes in the right place, you've done the right order.
Can I ask you a quick question as
Yeah.
you're doing that? More has to do with what you're doing with the hammers. You do tweak the pin a little bit, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was right, Rob.
Pardon?
So I was right.
What's that?
Tweaking the pin.
Yeah.
They told you not to do that?
No.
I don't know if I can do the piano without doing that.
Did they tell you to do that in your Potter training?
What'd you say?
Did they tell you to do that in your Potter training?
Well, they just said every tuner does that.
It's just like a micro adjustment, it seems
Yeah.
like to me. If I'm pulling the thing, it's whip, where.
I saw a student break a pin once doing that.
What was that?
I saw a student break a pin once doing that. I sent him home. He actually broke the pin.
Pulling it too hard.
Yeah.
Are you guys impressed yet?
Yeah, I am.
That makes one of us.
I couldn't do it with everybody
Just
watching.
with the speed at what you're doing, it's not.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
When you tune, like Potter says to always go a little higher and then come back. Do you subscribe to that?
I don't know.
You know what? You just threw me on my backside when you told me.
Well, and then he had these old guys doing it too. They all did that. And
You know, it's not always the same.
no, yeah,
I've had it both ways.
right.
And going like sometimes you're just tweaking it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're tweaking it down. And sometimes you have to do it differently.
Okay.
Every pin I find reacts differently
Yeah.
to what I'm doing.
They have their own little grooves that they like to be in.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you
it's-
can't get to the same spot down as
And
you
some are really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I'll be frustrated. I'll
Pardon me?
go, get in there. And I'll be
Oh, yeah.
mad. And then the customer go, what's going on?
The real skill is tuning while someone's talking at you.
What's that?
The real skill is tuning while someone's talking at you. Then you have to tune out the false beats as well as the false noise coming out of their mouth.
Yeah, you just say, you treat everybody like a 6-year-old kid and you say, uh-huh.
What I get, what gets me is when they ask me what I'm doing, and then I have to explain to them about temperament and all this, and I give a real short version. But yeah. And somebody says, "What is that scope doing?" I said, "Just for show." What I'm listening, George, makes perfect sense.
funny thing is happening with me right now, and that is because I'm feeling under pressure and wanting to do it fast.
Yeah,
I'm frustrated because
sounds good.
because I'm trying to do it fast.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not taking the time with every interval. But anyway, this is that's a reasonably good temperament.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So a fourth should be wide by a certain amount. So as you're playing, or let's say there's, so if as you're going through, you're listening that it's beating the same here as it is here, right?
Almost, not quite. Listen to that beat. That's the bottom third of that temperament octave. The F to the A.
Yeah.
This is the top note, which is the D flat to the F, in the top of that temperament octave. Can you hear the difference there? Which is faster, which is slower? Number one. Number two.
Number two, or sorry, number one's faster.
Yeah, number one sounds faster, that one there.
Let's find our location. Okay. That's the location where those harmonics are coming together at. It'll be a different location here, but... Okay, you got that in your head? Listen to this.
That seems slower, is it? Oh, wait a second. Okay, now I'm hearing the high note.
It's up there, is it? Once it kicks in, you'll be able to hear it.
It should be faster, right? Yeah, I know that, but I can't hear.
Michelle, can you hear that?
I can hear it now that I've listened to it for a while, yeah.
Yeah. That's really fast, and it should be. It's at the top of that octave.
All right.
Now I can hear, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
When you're done the temperament octave, your thirds are going to be increasing in speed very smoothly.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. Are they keep going up the same? Shouldn't they be sort of doing one way or the other? So they're going a little faster all the time.
The fourths are going to be pretty much consistent, although there's, technically they're
Slowing
going to be speeding up as well, just ever so slightly. But you can, for all intents and purposes, the fourths are just going to be about 1 beat a second. The fifths, that's a bad fifth by the way, but the fifths are also going to be sounding very pure on the narrow side.
And that's consistent up and down the piano.
Yes. The sixths are going to be increasing in speed very smoothly. So you've got third, you've got fourths, you've got fifths, you've got sixths, you've got the octave. One more test that you can try with a double octave, and that is the third below the bottom note and the double octave third top note. And when you're in a real situation, the third should be a little bit slower than the double octave third. Okay?
You probably don't have time for this, but how in the world do you do like that by ear? Do you like a sixth?
Yeah,
How do you?
I'm going to be a little cheeky here. Do you think your customer knows?
Don't say
No,
that.
actually you can hear,
You can.
especially on a good piano.
Yeah.
I mean, probably one of the things that's been happening in the last 5 years that I'm actually starting to do, which I never thought that I would do, is I can hear the thirds down there. I can hear
Because I mean, especially on old pianos, there are sometimes just rumbles and vibrations that.
You know what the third is doing?
Is that the ba 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 ba? Okay, I'm hearing something else.
And it's happening at this location.
Yeah, okay, I hear that, yeah.
That's the third. It's going about this speed. Can you hear that? You're listening to a third way down at the bottom.
How s-
Oh, wow.
And that should be slower, much, much slower than up here, obviously. Okay.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, if you can hear those thirds down there and make them incrementally a little tiny bit slower than the previous third on the way down, you're getting very accurate tuning down there.
Okay, can I just summarize? I think you said this before, but I didn't really understand it then. If you're in the middle of your temperament octave, you have the about narrowness and about wideness of the octave fifth, fourth that you explained earlier.
Right.
As you move down, same principle but slightly wider, slightly narrower, or do they all
Yeah.
or do they all widen?
Technically, they're the same.
As you go down, they're all the same.
They'd be the same in terms of sense, but because you're dealing with lower frequencies,
Oh,
okay, there's less beats per cent.
okay.
Right.
That makes sense. And then as you go up, same principle, faster.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's about 12:15. Oh my gosh, I hope that this has been, you know, somewhat valuable for you. I mean, I took, you know, I went through a 2-year course. To be honest, the first year was all about kind of tuning and in-home maintenance stuff. The first year is where I put in those 300 hours of tuning practice. So we were trying to squeeze an awful lot of stuff into, you know, a couple hours. But this is some of the fundamental information that you're going to be using when you're tuning orally. Okay. My email address is, my name is George Clausen, so it's actually quite easy to remember. It's gclausen3 at Gmail. That's my email. Obviously, it would be.
George Mail.
George Mail, right. gclausen3 at George Mail.
So
Gmail.
are you part of a, what's the
The guild?
guild, yeah? Like
No,
you go to
I'm
meetings
not.
and stuff?
I'm not.
Okay.
And it's because, and this might sound funny, but it's also a little bit serious as I'm 60 years old now.
Right.
Got to know myself a little bit more over the years.
Sure.
One of the defects in my character is that I'm a bit of a hermit, and I say that somewhat seriously. I wish I wasn't. If I had been more mature in my younger years, I would have joined the guild. And now I'm thinking actually of getting involved in the guild again, because by the time I'm 90, I'll be as grown up as some people are when they're 30. So I think it's a good idea, actually.
Can you
Yeah,
spell
yeah.
Clausen?
KLASSEN.
Okay, thanks.
What's the benefit of the guild? Like other than regular old union, like the union strengths, is there a specific sort of?
Well, you know, that's a good question, and the cynical side of me always, the way I justified my not belonging to the guild was, you know, it's just another way of advertising and, you know, all these, well, you know, that's actually probably not a bad thing. The other thing is that I think what I've missed out on not being part of it all these years is just rubbing shoulders with people who are in the same life as you are, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
This is sort of a guild thing that we're doing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a guild type thing. Yeah. For sure. We're kind of done, I think. So I've given you my email address. If you have some questions about some of this stuff, just shoot me an email and I'll try the best to answer it.
Well, I have something to say. If anybody wants to do this again, then let's talk, because we can do this again. and brings the cost down a little bit if everybody chips in, right? So, and then brings George, his high roller, out for
I was
a couple
asking
hours.
him if he's a member of the guild, and he said he said he wasn't. I'm just brainstorming here, but I don't know, like, at least the four of us, and
Well,
could we do
I'm a
something?
Christian. I left my guilt at the foot of the cross.
See, that's what I said. That's what I said way back.
Yeah. Like as an informal thing, like I don't know who would be interested in that.
I would.
I kind of thought the piano tuna guys.
Like
You know,
tuna fish.
Piano tuna guys, and then Michelle threw that one out. Now we have to call it the piano tuna people.
That's right, absolutely. I'm
Probably
with
wanted to
Michelle.
use some Zambian language, right?
Whatever works, hey?
So, probably lunch is ready. Any quick questions? Final question has been burning. You haven't said a whole lot. Are you?
Not a tuner.
Oh, you're not a tuner?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm a mover.
Oh, you're.
Elliot's
I
my
break my
main
back.
moving guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, he's one of the smart ones. You know?
There's money in that, eh?
Well,
There's
anytime
money
he
in that
doesn't
moving
want to
stuff.
move a piano, he says, "Oh, I just seen the chiropractor." He pulls that one on me quite often, actually.
Every
Do you ever
month.
take on like students and?
I haven't, but you know, I haven't.
I'd love to study with you if possible, and I have started a GoFundMe campaign, so I'm raising money to take whatever courses I can.
Okay.
I thought that maybe tuning orally would be the best option for Michelle because of
Yeah.
you know, because then you don't have to rely on any visual
Right,
scope thing, you
right.
know, that kind of.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but
It's my
Yeah.
blind friends in South Africa, is at the blind school for the blind. We had a piano tuning department, and a lot of them did it, and I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance because we moved, but I'd love to do it.
Now, do you play?
I actually play a lot of other instruments. I play a little bit of piano. I know all the notes and the scales. I know all
Yeah.
the theory.
Yeah.
But I mostly play flute and drum and guitar.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I'm asking that is not because I really don't play piano, not like Gerard. I throw chords together,
Yeah.
and I tell my customers that I know a couple of tunes really well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I always, this is just, I'll just do this really fast. This is my typical tuning song, and I made it up. I composed it. How am I doing?
yeah, you're hearing all of your notes.
That's hitting every single note in the piano. So, and if I play it slowly, I can actually hear.
When I do the middle, I do this piece here.
Yeah. I hate you. I absolutely hate you.
All my clients, they're like, "You must be pretty good." I'm like, "I can play 2 songs and all the notes."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Thanks, George.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I hope it's been worth your time. And
Well, maybe this will be the start of many. I mean, we could do more. But, you know, if you guys want to do this again, text me.
I could do this every 6 months. You know, I know from just listening to this that I could spend a couple months tuning pianos.
I could
thinking
do
of
this
it,
every
you know
month,
what I mean?
but
Like,
your
Yeah.
budget must be stretched.
well, you know, the thing to do now is to just try to take some of this information, experiment with it. There's no shortcut to
As
putting in
long
the
as
hours.
it's somebody else's piano we experiment on, right?
or our own.
Or your own. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because I find with lots of this stuff, the information's out there, but it's really difficult to apply. But
Yeah.
I can hear, I can get the temperament octave in tune, but I don't really know why that
Yeah,
fourth is helping
now-
me, and I don't really know
yeah.
why, you know.
That's fine.
And now it's
Now you can know why.
Why?
Because we
Yeah.
can
You can test every
Yeah.
Kind
interval.
of like
Yeah.
Yeah. Cards, anybody, if you want a card.
Sure, I'll take
Thanks.
one.
My email address is not on there, unfortunately, because
I'll take one from Michelle.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Gerard knows my number off by heart.
I got you in my phone. You dropped your little date timer.
Oh yeah, I need
I
that.
can't believe you have that such a small one. I have one the size of a